our leaders, we see leadership as three things: know the way, show the way, go the way. "42 years ago, I listened to a lady speak. Well, I was a schooler, right? I was in my last year of high school, and she was what we call then an Aboriginal elder. Some people would know of her. She was known as the Saint of Redfern. Her name was Mum Shirl, and she spoke to us in year 12. And I've heard this quoted other times before, but her quote was the first time I'd heard it, and the only person I've ever said it who actually believed. She said, "For us, our leaders, we see leadership as three things: know the way, show the way, go the way." And seriously, I wonder if in 40 years' time, people will be repeating anything I ever say. Like 40 years later, I remember that, and I remember the way she said it. I remember the look in her eye. I remember the deep spiritual commitment she had to that idea. Like, this woman carries with her an ancestral memory going back 40,000 years. And when she gave to us, I don't even say said, when she gave to us, know the way, show the way, but go the way. You've got to know more, and you've got to know better than anyone else. And you need to show us, as a leader, you need to show us the way to go. We need to see from you, but we also need to see you as being part of it. You also must go the way. So you would never ask us to do anything that you could not do or would not do yourself. And in 40 years, one whole bookcase behind me is about leadership and management. One whole bookcase. These are 2-meter high bookcases, 6 shelves, right? And one whole bookcase, meter wide, is about leadership. And in all of that, I have never seen a better definition of leadership than Mum Shirl's. Okay, and I actually like this question because I'm not particularly musical. I like music, but I'm not particularly musical. But even for me, some songs really hit me and help to define or at least explain who I am as a person. Now, I limited myself, and you'll be appreciating this. I'm limited myself only to songs in the last 100 years. Tempted, some of the ones from 18th and 17th century, they're pretty powerful to me. But the most recent one, within the last 5 years, Congo's "Come With Me Now."
Afraid to lose control and caught up in this world. I've wasted time.
I don't know whether you know it. Absolutely compelling song. And, most people would immediately understand, yeah, that's Demian. It's high energy, really in your face, impossible to ignore, primal beat. And it's, very, very upbeat, but it is just so foundational in its appeal to, deep humanity. And so I thought, so that captures, the energy, the compelling energy that I honestly feel. Prior to that, Bob Dylan's "It's All Right, Ma."
Darkness at the break of noon, shadows, even the silver spoon, the handmade blade, the child's balloon.
I don't know whether you know the song. It is, to me, it's my favorite Bob Dylan song, but as a song that really speaks to me, it is fast-paced, but it is deeply intellectual and also deeply philosophical. And just the use of words, because, one of the big things with me is words. Is use of words, is the way I speak, the way I use words differently from other people. And listening to that song, my favorite parts, money doesn't talk, it swears, obscenity, who really cares, propaganda, all is phony. It's all right, ma, it's life and love only. By the way, I can't sing, but I can sing that song. which tells you how much it appeals to me. So that deep intellectual, high energy, the fast way the mind moves, basically to really follow that song, you need a mind like a steel trap that moves like lightning. That's why I love it. That's why that appeals to me. And the third one, you may not know it, biggest selling song worldwide from 1946. It was Hoagie Carmichael's Old Buttermilk Sky.
Old buttermilk sky, I'm a keeping my eye peeled on you. What's a good word to?
And it was like Hoagie Carmichael's, is a crooner, but this song is not a croony song, those like sad, morose, minor key sort of love songs. No, this is very bouncy, very happy, and it's about a very simple, romantic guy walking his donkey along because, like a lot of people in those days, they were too poor to, certainly couldn't afford a car, too poor to have a horse, and they carried, they rode a donkey, and they, hitched it to hitched the donkey just underneath the bright moon, and he was going to propose to his girl that night. And he was appealing to the buttermilk sky to shift the cloud just at the right moment, to shift the clouds from sight, so he could ask his girlfriend to be his wife. And that simple, romantic, fun-loving song, zero complication. That is the side that very few people see of me. No one would mistake me for being romantic normally. No one. But I got to tell you, it's there. I just managed to just reserve it for one in particular person in my life. But it's there, and I like that is one of my favorite songs because it reminds me that there is that dimension. So they're the three songs: the high energy, high intellect, and high romance. A little bit of fun. It's kind of nice. It's actually not as hard as you think. Some of the books I read as a teenager were, as they should be, very formative. And actually, I was looking at the book early on today. This is a book from I bought it in 1978. It is, it's the dialogue, some of the dialogues of Plato. And a large part of the book is one of Plato's major works, The Republic. And in The Republic, he described how a model citizen should live his life. And I say his because it was, we're talking 2,500 years ago, ancient Greek, it was about men. But nowadays, of course, you would interpret that to be everybody. And even had a time frame on it, which was appropriate to the, age expectancy, life expectancy at the time. But so the first part of your life should be about learning. And he was talking up till the early 30s. You should focus on learning. The middle part of your life should be commercially successful. In other words, this guy was a deep philosopher, and yet, saying don't be commercially naive for crying out loud. You're still working this world, right? So being commercially successful. And the later part of your life, in the public service. And he was talking about in public life, and because in those days in ancient Greece, in Athens, everybody participated in the democracy, and you'd often be effectively the president for a day or something like that. And that shaped the trajectory of my life. I was spent almost all of my time learning. I was working, but I was not focusing on my career. I had a good career in my 20s. But I was, people said, wow, you could be even further up. And I said, no, I want to study more. I want to learn more. And the middle part was, it was commercial. It was where I owned my own business. And it was good, and it allowed me the freedom. The latter part of my life, which I'm in now, I'm not going into the public service as such, but as a thought leader. I will have still have a commercial, commercially viable practice as a thought leader. But I've made the commitment to all of my thought leadership to donate to what we call the Creative Commons. In other words, I will not claim copyright on it. I will, anyone can use it, just with attribution, of course, but anyone can take what I produce and use it. Now, they will come to me if they want, the best training that they could ever get, right? So I will charge for my training and I will charge for my books, but the ideas will be part of the Creative Commons. They will be donated to humanity, because it goes back to another question that was raised by Plato, like, why are you? Why are you? What is your contribution to the world? And my contribution, and it was one of the questions that Seth asked me in the early days of my association with the Speakers Institute. And it was no problem to answer it. My contribution has always been to add to our knowledge and understanding, right? To add to the knowledge and understanding of the world in a timeless way. Not just, things that are important now, like, making predictions about, the future of technology. I mean, like that's low value because it is very time limited. I'm talking about our understanding of ourselves, of humanity and world, of truths that have always been true, but we've just never discovered, and truths that will remain true for all of time. That's my purpose, to contribute to knowledge. And so I'm happy to, whatever I discover, whatever reasoning I come up with, it'll be donated to the Creative Commons. That is my interpretation of Plato's exhortation to dedicate the latter part of your life to the public service. So it's of all these books, it is easy to say this is the book that shaped my leadership trajectory over the last 50 years. Interestingly enough, and I'm really happy about this, we've actually already covered it. More. There is more, right? And it's not like more, I want more. It is not a scarcity mentality. It's not a greed thing. It is, there is more out there. There is more to be discovered, right? Like, it's part of the what else is there. It is, it's the flip side of that. What else there? Just the assumption, the belief there is more. And I was in early February. I was at my nephew's wedding, and it was a beautiful wedding. And I was asked to speak on behalf of our family, and in fact the Christopher's father's family, as well as his mum's family, which is my family. This is my sister's son. And I talked about how so many people stop really living their life around the age of 40. I said, because I said, a lot of us are here a lot of us here tonight, I said, are at a stage where there's not as many pages left in our book that we would really like. And so the question is, how do we fill the remaining pages? Because so many people stop writing their life story after around the age of late 30s, early 40s, and they just keep doing what they've always done, and they look back on their life many years' time, and the remaining, the last 20, 30 years have just been filled with reminiscences and regrets. And say, no matter how old you are, there's always more. There's always more in there. It was actually the theme of the closing keynote I gave at the Speakers Institute conference. Like, even if you're at 60 years, you've got another 20 years. Like, don't stop now. You've got another 20 years. You keep writing your story. You keep filling the pages of your book. And the best example of that is Charles Dickens' final novel, The Mystery of Edwin Drood. And nobody's heard of it, of course, but it was, and I have it. It's this final book, and you know what the final words are? The final lines of the book. It's actually ... and the publisher writes, "Here the manuscript ends," because Charles Dickens passed away. He kept writing to the moment he died. At no time did he think, okay, I'm done here. I'll just, put on my feet and, just start, chewing on marshmallows by the fire and wait in God's waiting room. There is always more. There is always more. There's one word that made, so here am I, 60 this year. I know I tell everybody because I love it. And wow, there is just so much more. So that's more is the word.